Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair. Calm down and get your teeth again at the Sci-Fi Center. We got almost everything a geek could want at the Sci-Fi Center. You name it, we got it. Star Trek, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, and everything in between at the Sci-Fi Center.
Welcome to the very first of our 39 episode journey of every episode of the Netflix Daredevil series as we head into Daredevil Born Again on March 4th, which we will also be watching as it airs or as it is available to us. Figured this was a good time to jump into this and to get you primed and ready for those of you who have watched the show to rewatch it, and for the rest of you who are most of you that I've met that have never watched this show. Here's your chance to jump on. I am watching it on Disney Plus. I do have the commercials added to mine because of the way the bundle worked out. So throughout the show, I will be giving you a timestamp so that you can, for those of you who are watching at a decent hour, can catch up to me. Did you look who popped up here? The co-host Brad, comics.com. How are you doing?
How's it going, sir? That's still amazing to me that they're running that quantity of people who haven't seen Daredevil at all.
Yeah, it's just like I said, there's a majority. I would say, like I said, 30% of the people that I run into and that I cross in my path, both in my normal life and my geek life, they know of it, but they just haven't had a chance to watch it yet for whatever reason. So here we go. It's in the news now. We've got the trailer going out. That the trailer that we just watched and broke down a couple of days ago. I'm going to bring in one of our patrons. Clint, how are you doing?
What's up?
Oh,
Here we go. All right, so I have a challenge for Brad.
oh, really? What's that?
We're watching Daredevil.
Yeah.
We agree on that, right?
Yes,
Everybody?
you agree with that. I didn't come out with my mask on.
We are not watching The Raid.
Oh, challenge! It totally
Okay.
failed. No, there's no. I'm sorry.
I
I am preemptively.
Epic fail.
Oh, I am
we-
preemptively telling you there's no possible way I'm
we-
going to succeed.
We
at this
are
challenge.
bringing brand new viewers into Daredevil and our channel. They can watch our watch party of The Raid we did last New Year. We are watching Daredevil,
which is heavily influenced by the Raid.
Nobody cares. These people coming in is not going to watch The Raid. Sorry. They barely are watching Daredevil. So one step at a time. Daredevil.
Yeah, William, that's going to be an epic fail.
Yes, there's going to be.
I have the X ready for you.
Oh, I
All right.
can X out the X. Nobody
You
can cancel.
can't. I can block you from doing it. All right. So Daredevil, episode 1, season 1. We're about to get in the ring. Into the ring is the very first episode title of this one. We are watching episodes 1 and 2 tonight, so you're gonna be with us. We're going to you're going to be with us
Not
for
one of
2
mine, by the
hours.
way.
Hey, William, your
2
mic's doing weird things.
Hold on. StreamYard was messing around with the let's see. Hold on. Speaker. Oops, hold on. This headphones are far away.
Actually, my screen's kind of doing some kind of weird flickering thing. I'm gonna step out and step back in just real quick, okay?
Okay.
Right, so.
I'll have to do this.
It's my show. Mine. Oh.
And that, yeah. All right. And how okay. Hopefully it's a StreamYard thing. Every now and then StreamYard throws things at us that we cannot control, which sucks sometimes. All right, so here we okay, well, there goes Brad. That's a guaranteed way to not have the show hijacked by the raid. All right, guys, we are starting at all zeros. I am at the Marvel logo. We're going to count down from 5. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
Okay, my buffering still.
What's up?
Looks like I'm okay. Okay, it's not doing that weird flicker thing I was doing a minute.
Okay.
All right, we started.
Yeah, we started. We are 1 minute 27 seconds in. Matt just realizes he can't see after the accident.
This is actually really good. I thought this was a really good way to kind of. They kind of have 3 openings for the show. They have the blinding scene of Matt as a kid. They have the confession scene here, and then they have the first Daredevil in costume rescue coming up after that. And yeah, you kind of get the in that sort of triumvirate of them. You kind of get the yes. Well, not all of it tonight, obviously.
Not tonight. We're starting with the first 2. But throughout the next 38 days, we're a little bit more than that. We're going to watch every episode leading up to the premiere of Daredevil Born.
And by the way, that's only Daredevil, so it's not going to be Defenders. It's not going to be Echo. It's not going to be She-Hulk.
No.
And
fuck no, we are not watching those shows.
Oh, Defenders is pretty awesome, despite what William will tell you.
It's okay. It's unnecessary.
And then other than that, we got we got a little bit of his external his material external show. We did the Spider-Man No Way Home watch party, but it's the only
he's in
non.
It's
in 2 seconds, catch the brick. I'm a really good lawyer.
Yeah.
So it's the only non Daredevil led Daredevil material you're watching in the lead up to Born again. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, with those kind of 3 intros, you sort of get like, it's a really good cliff notes leading into, because you get the accident that caused his blindness, but also gave him his powers. And with this, you get emphasizing his Catholicism, and then of course you see him in action, as Daredevil. But at that point, he's not really Daredevil. He's the devil of Hell's Kitchen. He's in the ninja suit.
What are you talking about, Chuck? Am I out? If I'm outside the joke, it's not funny. I guess. So you're gonna have to explain that one to me.
Actually, by the way, I don't know. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's done this, but because I'm writing a few things Daredevil related lately, and I forgot. There was one where I forgot like which. I forgot which like episode this like one part was in. So I go to like go and double check which episode it's in, and I pull up Netflix, and then I realize, oh right, it's not there anymore. You're mute, man.
Not how this works.
What's the time step? Because Cox was being Cox today.
What exactly?
I have it at 4:52.
It's right when they're at the shipping containers. When, the girls are getting kidnapped by the guys at shipping containers. Oh, human traffickers, some of the best villains you can put into a fight scene, because they serve no purpose other than to get beat up. That is what they were good for in real life. That's what they were good for in fiction.
It's like killing Nazis. It never gets old.
Exactly. Yeah, there's no good way to put them. There's no way to put them in a good light. So it's like, yeah, you'll feel any guilt about like watching violence on human traffickers.
One thing this show does is it does something that the comic cannot do. It shows you the ninja-ness, if that's a word I can use, of what he is. Because in the comics, you cannot convey that.
Yeah, that was one of the things I really
fucking knee.
Yeah, that's one of the things I really did love about the show. I consistently loved about the show is that it really places. I mean, it's a ninja show. I mean, it's full stop. I mean, this is a ninja series, and it never lets you forget that throughout the first 3 seasons. And I definitely get the impression that's what they're doing in Born Again as well.
Like I said, they lost it from me with Elektra because they did not achieve that with her. I hope they do it this time around, because that's a very important aspect of her as well.
Do you think, did they get that? Did they convey that with a stick for you?
No, not better than they did with her, but I think he's a really scary individual.
Yes.
And I think I don't get, he's good, but I don't get that fear that I have of this. Like this janitor could really fuck me up. Because Stick could kick all their asses.
Well, Stick in the comics, he's like 90 years old, isn't he?
Yeah, but you don't fuck with him.
Exactly. Yeah, he's not a typical 90-year-old.
Daredevil. After he had been trained, couldn't land a punch on Stick at one point. That's how Stick was like fucking with his mind. We're going through the intro, by the way. We're not going to skip
the opening. Which that's the other thing about the show that I did really appreciate. Other than I think William, I think Defenders was the only other one that did this intro wise. It's the only one of the Marvel Netflix shows that I felt had a really great theme associated with it. Really great.
Defenders had a great intro. I will give it that. I just, like I said,
well, not just that also, but like each kid. That's something I would have really enjoyed with with each character having like kind of their own theme music for their solo shows. And Daredevil was the only one I felt really kind of pulled that off in this solo show. And it's a great theme. It's like it's when I hear this theme, I mean, I just think Daredevil now.
Okay, now I have a commercial break,
Yeah.
so I will give you guys a timestamp when I am back on the air again. For those of you who are watching later on,
Well, I don't have commercial breaks, so should I pause or still go?
yeah, I would pause.
Okay.
That way, everybody who's watching, all
Gotcha.
of us, is on the same page.
Gotcha.
And I can't upgrade because I got the bundle. There's no under, because I have ESPN and
Gotcha.
all of them.
Gotcha.
Because I tried, I'm like, why am I paying all this money and still getting commercials? Is because you get a deal with ESPN and Hulu all at once, but they want you to. They get paid so much sponsor money from these commercials that they really don't want the non-ad tier.
Hey, Brad, have you listened to the comedy skit Twike on Leap?
I don't think I have, no.
Yeah, well, you should.
Well, who? I mean, what is that? Can you share that with me?
I'll put a link in the private area.
Okay. Private chat, you mean? Private area sounds like something else.
Where on the doll did Brad touch me?
Boot to the head.
Actually, it's kind of nice too with the watch. We're doing this watch party tonight because when I work in the between like training and assistant coaching. I mean, I'm in the
all right, hold on. I am back and I am at 8. Let's go to 8:30.
Okay.
All right.
It's right when he's getting out. It's right when he's getting out of bed.
Yeah. So we're gonna do a 3 count to get back on track. 3, 2, 1, play.
Alrighty. Maybe what I was saying though. Yeah. Between training and coaching, I'm in the dojo. I mean, because it's a big part of my professional life now too. So I'm in there like 6 days a week now between either training my own classes or assistant coaching, and usually I have a jiu-jitsu class on Saturday mornings, but it's work. School's closed through MLK weekend, so I get to sleep in tomorrow. So
You're not losing your phone again on a holiday, are you?
and no, it's where is it? Yeah, it's right here. Right here. Got it. Yeah, my replacement one that I got.
Okay, I put a link in the private chat whenever you're ready.
Gotcha. And I'm sure 4th. I mean, my phone will be jumping in the chat pretty soon. Yeah, 4th. That was funny though. 4th, it kind of outed himself. He was like pretending to be my Master Kim, who was my Taekwondo teacher, and but he's also been like we can tell now he's Williams Fly, he's Williams Pants, he's Williams Bed, all that and that's like if you knew the show, that's kind of like a running joke of like of somebody who we now can pretty safely say is 4th, pretending to be like different items in each of our lives in the chat. Kind of, Azteca. That was kind of interesting because I'm gonna go. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go and grab him real quick. Yeah, so maybe actually William, maybe you can kind of like also, share a little context or some opinions on this because I mean they did. I've got both of the first 2 seasons on Blu-ray of Daredevil. As far as I'm aware though, that's the only season of Daredevil they put out on physical media. I don't think they've done season 3. I don't think they did the Defenders. I do think they did at least season 1 of Jessica Jones, but I think that was kind of it. But also like I think pretty much every. Like I've got Iron Fist season 2 on download on Amazon Prime, so you can also digitally download these, external with like Netflix.
Don't hold your breath for any more, including Born again. They're just out of the business of giving you other places and other ways to watch these things other than the one that they've invested all their money into, which is the streaming service.
Well, like why did we get like the handful that they did put out? I mean,
Because at that time they were at the crossroads.
so that's why it just kind of like they started and then just kind of stopped.
Yeah. By when these first came out, we realized we weren't full throttle into streaming only yet. Now it's to the point where it's just not worth it for them anymore to do that. Their priority is to get you on Amazon.com or whatever.com, and that's it.
Yeah. Well,
they don't care if you go to Walmart or Best Buy or when.
Well, if you do want to get like physical copies of a couple of the Marvel Netflix shows, I mean, the first 2 seasons of Daredevil, they are out there, so grab them while you can while they're still making them, or they're still available.
What they need to start doing, though, if they're gonna do that, if they are doing that, they pretty much are getting out of the physical media game for the most part. They need to make it so that your subscribers can get special features and stuff on these shows.
Yeah. You mean like commentaries and behind the scenes stuff?
Yeah,
language, different, like, and I think that'd be a pretty advantage of streaming, because I mean, I would think, because you don't have like you probably wouldn't be limited in terms of like a data space on a stream play, so you could probably like put like a couple dozen languages you could like watch either as audio or subtitled.
I only speak one language more gooder, and that's American.
Oh, you speak it more gooder? Oh, that's goodly to hear, fastly, nicely. my more English is gooder more than yours is good English, or
Deborah Ann Wall is perfectly casted for this.
Yeah.
It turns out.
That's hot.
By the way, a little bit of MCU history too. That Jon Favreau, who of course plays Happy Hogan and also directed the first 2 Iron Man movies, he actually played Foggy in the 2003 Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck.
Okay,
so,
we're okay.
It's
so I'm
trivia.
That
It's
to the
trivia.
Come on. That movie really sucked. I tried to watch it again the other day because I had it on, and I couldn't get. I lasted.
Why would you watch party of that too when we get on the way to Born Again? That's got some Born Again elements in it.
No. She looks like shit here, which is what Karen Page would have looked like when they first encountered her.
Yeah. I just realized too, it's like we're coming up on 10 years from when season 1 dropped. So, man, oh man, just you get to that point in your life where it feels like you just blink and then another half decade's behind you.
What? All right. Retype that forth because I think you messed up there. Yeah. Okay. They did do a deal, but it's not all their stuff is going to be on Blu-ray. It's going to be selective. It's like just HBO Max. Not everything HBO Max is producing is going to end up. I mean, the big ones will, like Game of Thrones, Succession, shit like that. But as far as their whole library goes, like I said, it just doesn't make any sense to them anymore. Even though the profit margin for Blu-rays are high, that's not where they want to spend their money, it appears. It kind of sucks too. Because like I said, those special features are why you buy Blu-rays, and you don't get those on streaming.
Charlie Cox also, he does because he was perfect casting, I think, as Daredevil, and part of that is because he really does come across as he really knows how to speak like a lawyer, in this like when he's in lawyer mode.
What am I wrong about, Iseka?
When Matt has to be in lawyer mode in this, he really does. You believe him as a lawyer.
Okay, this is true. This is true, Azteca, but realize that Amazon is the retailer. They want you buying it from them. It makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, if you're whether you're streaming it from them or buying it from them, it's like, or they're one way or another. They're
going to get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, HBO Max, Disney. That's not necessarily the case all the time.
Did you watch Defenders? Where Did we, or are we going to? Because that's not going to be part of this.
Are you
our
asking
party.
did I do it originally? I did it
Yeah, I did,
right when it came out. Right when it came out, I did.
That because that was like the year before, like a year or 14. I think it was like 14 months before Daredevil season 3. So yeah, that was the culmination, of course, of like all the solo shows, and then they all went to their season 2, season 3s, and that's it was between Daredevil season 2 and 3, and yes, I absolutely saw that for season 3.
Here he knows he's telling the truth. For those of you who are watching this show and are not as familiar with Daredevil, I'm not babying anybody because I know a lot of you are, but some of you are not, and I'm realizing this. He can tell whether you're lying. Daredevil has heightened senses. He can hear your heartbeat, and not only that, but it turns out that we have signature heartbeats, so he can actually tell who you are and who's coming by all that. But when your heart rate speeds up, he knows you're lying and all that, so he knows right there she's telling the truth.
And but actually, to kind of add to that, also, when you say heightened, it's not heightened senses like a normal, like a blind person has. Like he has superhuman height because of the way he was blinded with the chemicals that specific way. It's like it he didn't just it heightened his remaining senses to for anybody not familiar with Daredevil, it heightened to a superhuman degree, and he has his signature power is called the radar sense, where his sense of hearing is so heightened that he can quote unquote see the world around. He can perceive his surroundings by through the vibrations of the and sound around the world. He can basically it's a good replacement for or it's a way to that compensates for his blindness, because it's seeing through another means for him.
Fourth, not necessarily, because it has to be cost effective. With Amazon as a retailer, it makes sense for them to do their original content. With some other streamers, it doesn't make any sense. You're mass producing these things, and if people have checked out a physical media, who's buying them? So it's not worth it for everyone,
Yep, I tried to tell Dave that watching Defenders vs. Season 3 is a must. He thinks you're talking about Film Junkie. Well, I mean, it does lead directly into there are events, one in particular that does play into like how season 3 starts off. Like John Bernthal's Punisher. I wish he was 6 foot. Really? No, he looked about that to me. Like in season 2, when we see him. Oh, so you're saying Film Junkie? Okay, yeah. He hasn't seen Defenders? Okay.
I don't know anybody besides myself and you who have. I know obviously people saw it, but
I got the screeners for Defenders when that came out. I saw that like when did I see that? Like it was probably like about 3 weeks to a month, because that's usually about the time frame like when Netflix will put out screeners for anything episodic. I got the screeners for like a fair amount of like the Marvel. I didn't get for season 1 of Daredevil. The ones I got season 2 and 3 of Daredevil, both seasons of Iron Fist and Defenders. Those are the Marvel. Those are the ones I was able to get during the Marvel Netflix era.
All right, John Barenthal is 5'11".
Oh, yeah, okay, fourth. So that's really splitting hairs, man. Come on.
That if the original bio for Frank Castle was 5'11", he wasn't. He was tall, but he wasn't. He was never over 6 feet.
Yes, yeah, they consider Daredevil. Yeah, it's. I would also consider it Iron Fist season 1.5, because as far as like it builds off of their solo shows, but it's like those are the ones that kind of play the most directly, because the Hand is involved as the villains. So and they're the most directly connected to Iron Fist and Daredevil. So it's kind of like Iron Fist season 1, Daredevil Iron Fist season 1.5, Daredevil season 2.5.
Really wish they hadn't connected those shows.
They're coming back. We have a bet on here on the show.
I don't need them. Whether they come back or not, they've proven that they weren't necessary.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes internet's full of misinformation.
No, you just watch the shows and you realize that.
No, I'm talking to fourth here.
Oh, what is he talking about?
He says 5'11". I thought it was 5'9". John Bernthal's height.
No, John Burton. He's clearly you clearly can see that
Yeah,
he's 5'11",
Yeah,
because you
so,
just get to compare it to the people he's standing next to. It's
yeah,
like,
that's why.
all right.
That's why I said sometimes. The internet's just there's misinformation out there, especially when it comes to like things like celebrity heights. But and now we're like what, like 25 minutes or so into. That's one thing that I think.
By the way, timestamp, we are 21:40 into the movie, or into the show.
That's one thing that the trailers definitely sold, but I don't think it was really until I saw the pilot episode that really made clear that this was going to be tone wise was going to be very, very, very different from the MCU cinematically, and that's something I have always consistently appreciated that Marvel Netflix did, because it's not these are all the street level heroes, and Daredevil himself is naturally a darker character anyway, so
Daredevil is the only true street level hero that Marvel has. You can kind of throw Spider-Man in there, but not really. I don't.
But that was
Technically, yes, but no.
That was the thing I liked, is that it is the fact that you had that. And I maybe you can like talk a bit about this as far as like Kevin Feige kind of directly embracing Marvel Netflix now as within the proper MCU. But
Yeah.
again, the fact that you had the contrast of like the lightheartedness and the fun and the comedy of the MCU and in the movies, and then on Netflix when these shows were going, they were much more adult oriented. I mean, I think all of them, if they had been movies, like all of them would have gotten a hard R. I mean, every single one of these is an R-rated show.
If you look at the MCU, you actually break it down movie by movie. It's some really dark stuff in the MCU. It doesn't take place in the back alleys, but there's some really, most of the MCU, to be honest with you, is kind of dark. And that's why it was always hilarious to me that they get this pass for being this bright and colorful shit. And I'm like, if you watch these movies, they're like, no, there's some really dark stuff going on in some of these movies. Now, yeah, there's some fantastical bullshit, but the other 70% of it is really, it's really deep.
Well, the thing about it, when it comes to like Iron Man and Guardians of the Galaxy, the MCU is, I don't think anybody would dispute, is like it's definitely known for being like very high on like comic relief.
There are jokes, but Guardians of the Galaxy, especially 1 and 3, there were some dark elements there. Rocket Raccoon, when he was about to shoot everybody, when he was going through what he was going through. Thanos is killing half the universe.
But see, I think that's why I think the abundance of the jokes is probably why that kind of it has a reputation of being kind of like a 4-quadrant franchise, and like a lot of darker elements within the stories aren't necessarily seen as such, because you have kind of like the surface level of these these just like high flying, just popcorn fun, but that's so many people don't get past the surface on that when really dissecting the franchise, as far as like the cinematic context of it. And that's one thing that on Marvel Netflix they really presented from the start, is that the tone was consistently presented as particularly on Daredevil.
That was Frank Miller, by the way. That's not Daredevil
true.
By nature, because prior to issue 158, Daredevil wasn't any darker than anybody else.
Well, he had the yellow suit.
Yeah. Well, he had he had the yellow suit. He had the red suit, but Frank Miller just didn't write that way. Prior to that, it was a safe comic. Once Frank Miller took over, Frank Miller is why you have this show that we're watching right now. Because if he hadn't had his effect on Daredevil, it wouldn't have been marketable enough to do a show.
Yeah, and if you're at all familiar with Frank Miller's work on Daredevil, that is all over this series.
It is the series. For me, it is the series. There's no, like I said, now, do they miss sometimes? Yeah, they really missed with Elektra. And they really added things to the
degrees, apparently.
No, they didn't miss with the casting. They missed with the story. Also, something that Frank Miller didn't do is he didn't clutter his Daredevil story with characters that really didn't need to be there. And I think that's why those Defenders really water the story down. They water the character down when they're there, because that's not what Daredevil is. Daredevil, even when they did that in the comics, it failed. So it's just, you got to understand the character completely and know who to put with Daredevil. Luke Cage does not belong with Daredevil. Jessica Jones, none of those characters really belong with Daredevil if you're really truly doing him correctly. Spider-Man barely does. So I like I said, they got a really good opportunity to really refine what they did with Netflix, kind of cut the fat off. And
By
I
the way,
hope
also,
they do.
also with Charlie Cox, I'm gonna look this up again. I think he had mentioned that he did because this was also kind of when like Marvel when Disney Star Wars was first getting off the ground, and I think he'd mentioned like he says like he actually went out, he auditioned for Han Solo, but he says he didn't get that one. He says he thinks what happened is that he got so used to. How's it going, Aaron? Is your laptop situation is that fixed? Because let us know what it is. We'd love to have you back on to go through the whole Daredevil series and talk about the awesome fight scenes that I apparently am not allowed to liken to any like popular martial arts films. But anyway, what was it? Yeah. So he mentioned he went out for Solo.
Passive aggressive much there, Brad?
Oh, dude, man, it's like I can that was just like a teaspoon of what I. But anyway, yeah. So he said he went out for Solo, but he didn't get it. He thinks what happened was he got so used to the with his glasses off, the kind of the blind stare that Matt has, that he thinks that kind of he got so used to being in that he had a little bit of trouble turning that off, I guess, like between seasons, and that kind of derailed the whole Solo thing. I am kind of wondering like how, I mean, that would have been hard to work out scheduling wise though, wouldn't it? I mean, it would as far as like he's committed to the show and he's also Solo. I mean, that would have been like, could he been able to manage that?
Could have.
Yeah, I'm gonna look this up real quick. Let's see the whole story about him. So, because I mean, yeah, it's like, I mean, that's one thing that, I mean, one thing people don't realize, like, these actors, I mean, they are spinning a lot more plates than people realize,
Well, just like every actor, they always go for the money.
Yeah. Okay, here it is. Yeah, he did go out for Han Solo. I think he could actually been a pretty good Han Solo.
Yeah, I saw that, and I'm like, cool.
Oh yeah, same thing. I mean, it's like, yeah, it is. Anyway,
A lot of the very famous celebrities do commercials for overseas products because they get paid handsomely.
yeah, but really, I mean, they will zigzag between like a lot of different projects every year. Okay, yeah. So he said he auditioned for something that was like, it was like a super secretive kind of thing. He's described as and he says he doesn't know for sure that it was for Han Solo, but he's pretty sure that it was. Yeah. The whole thing was that he was asked like why he wasn't looking at the casting director, and it's because of he'd gotten in the habit of like from being Daredevil of like just having the blind look, so that kind of carried over into the Solo audition. So, I mean, yeah, good. Wasn't able to make Solo for that, unfortunately, but we've gotten a lot of great Daredevil with him. I think too. Also, they definitely bring like the visual look of like the Daredevil comics. I mean, this has like that. When it comes to like the the color scheme and all that. I mean, this looks when you open the pages of a Daredevil comic, you see a lot of red, you see a lot of purple, you see. I mean, obviously, see a lot of things in in the radar vision, but they definitely carry the the look of what you expect to see in a Daredevil comic over into the way they visually structure the show. Aaron says tomorrow I'm going to try and use it. Okay. Sounds good. Hope to see you on. Yeah, Katy Perry does menu law commercials here on stream. Yeah. Okay, this is also where he uses his hearing again as the whole lie detector thing, because he's asking Karen about like, hey, why did they not try to kill you in the cell? So, and like, did you keep the disc? And he could tell from her heartbeat that she's hiding something. Another shot here where it's like he's looking at her and she's reflected in his glasses. And by the way, William, kind of what you were saying earlier about how he can listen on your heartbeat, because that's basically like how one of the ways that like actual like polygraphs work, but he's they detect a heightened heartbeat when someone as a signal that somebody's lying, but he's able to that could still be somewhat deceptive when a machine's handling it, but he's able to like tune in to the frequency on such a level that he can attribute it to the fact they're trying to deceive him. And like you said, he can also attune to like a specific person's heartbeat. I couldn't tell you actually, Aaron. I'm sure he did a lot of training for the show, but I don't know if he like came from like any significant martial arts background beforehand. But again, obviously, actors, they do a lot of training when they take on a superhero. I know his double is a fellow named Chris Brewster. So he's the guy when like he's got the mask on. He's primarily the guy who's like doing all the kicking and flipping and all the stuff like that in the fight scenes. I got to interview him twice when I was at Screen Rant a couple of years ago. He's pretty cool, dude. Yeah, he mentioned he wants to, the 8711 guys, the John Wick guys, they're well known for their stunt gym in Los Angeles. I know he wants to. I need to check in if he's gotten this off the ground yet, but he told me, he wanted to get one, set up in Atlanta. It's kind of like the 8711 gym, but kind of like a training ground and sort of an epicenter for the stunt people on the East Coast. So, Chris, if you're watching, look forward to everything you have coming up, man. He's a really cool dude, and I really enjoy talking to him. He's a hell of a martial artist, as you can definitely see in these fight scenes. If I can paint, kick, scream, oh, there's definitely more to it than that, man. Aaron and I can definitely tell you. Okay, also, to give a little more Daredevil history, Bob Gunton here is playing a character called Leland Owlsley, who's known as the Owl in Daredevil comics. He's a big Daredevil villain. But now William, maybe like shed a little bit of light on this is like Madame Gao. Does she have any like big comics history with the? I think she is. Isn't she I believe she is an original character for the show, isn't she?
I think so. I don't
Okay.
recall her.
Oh, Aaron has a little bit of marketing suggestion for you. One suggestion only for your channel. I was thinking, why don't you play the Sci-Fi Center shop commercial twice, once at the beginning and play it once before the outro.
Good idea.
That's my baby sis. Provide marketing
That's still
for
creepy.
William. It's like, no, it's like your business is gonna like increase by 20%. You have her to thank. Like Aaron should be getting a commission for that suggestion on all profits. Is that right, Megas? Oh yes, there's some ninja ness there. As William calls it, that that knife disarm to the somersault. And I fell in love with just just how phenomenal the fight choreography on the show is. And the thing about it is too is that this is about a year before BVS, before Batman v Superman came out. I've always contended that that's when we first start getting great Batman fight scenes, and this comes a year before that. Get all these great Daredevil fight scenes. So really, I think during this this period of 2013 through 16, I contend that's when we first start seeing fight choreography and in superhero movies and shows like really start to match kind of what we see in like Hong Kong action movies and martial arts films and something else. Just leave it at that. And in ninja movies too, because again, as William said, this show really brings the ninja-ness. You should actually, William, you should coin that term, like put it on a shirt and sell it in the Sci-Fi Center. You'll probably actually make a pretty penny off of that. Yeah, it really brings that element to it in the fight scenes, is the ninja-ness of Daredevil. Yeah, again, I just love these fight scenes. I love the fight scenes in Daredevil. And the ninja-ness, that's called an aerial, what he just did right there. Oh, Aaron. No. Yeah. Obviously, KFK. Our focus is martial arts, but if it I mean, when it comes to like superhero stuff, and I've written plenty, on KFK about that. If there's enough like martial arts content in something, the superhero related or like other genres, like I've done plenty. I wrote about Daredevil on KFK, when it was coming out. I wrote reviews of it. I wrote all news pieces about it. Yeah, we were all over this. We were all over this since coming out. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna be writing stuff about it for a comic book, and I'll probably be writing about it for KFK too. When Born Again comes up. But yeah, we were if there's overlap in like the superhero stuff with with the martial arts stuff, it's like, oh, I have done plenty of that on KFK, and as have other writers for the site. So yeah, there's never been a barrier. Because really, it's like, look at it, it's a ninja show, so it's like, even if you're not like watching it like on the level of, like this cape shit, it's like it's still really you still get it, the whole ninja feel of it's still very much a martial arts show. So yeah, we definitely had plenty of real estate for Daredevil when it first dropped. Yes, Dante. This is we're watching it on Disney Plus now, because that's where all the Marvel Netflix stuff has been moved to. But yes, this is Daredevil's. We're starting our revisit of Daredevil's season 1 through 3 in the lead up to Daredevil Born Again.
For the majority of you, this is your introduction.
Yeah, that's surprising to hear, but yeah, apparently it is. But yeah, these shows all started, this started back. Daredevil specifically started back in 2015 on Netflix, and that's where Daredevil, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and the Punisher, and the crossover, the Defenders. Those were all on Netflix originally. Then when Marvel, got the rights to all those back, they moved over to Disney Plus. Now they've got all those characters. Now we're starting to see the return of all that.
Let's go back. They never really lost the rights. It was a licensing agreement. They always maintained the rights.
Wait a minute. Did you just say that that a big comic book company could sell something to Netflix?
Yeah, but you got to be accurate here when we say they got the rights back. Marvel Comics has always had the rights for Daredevil.
I'm being a little passive aggressive there on something else. Let you guys fill in the blanks on that.
But also, when it comes to the MCU, you have to realize from 2008 to maybe the last 3 or 4 years, if it wasn't on the MCU screen, a lot of those cats didn't watch it until they had a reason to watch it.
Well,
a lot of people passed this show over, which is kind of surprising, but it's
Well, because I put it above like most of the MCU movies.
Yeah, but you're into kung fu. Most of the MCU people probably aren't.
But not just that. Also, I mean, on the level of just like superheroes, stuff. It's like, I put it above.
Plus, Netflix doesn't advertise anything too. So
yeah, they always start their marketing like a month before something drops,
or if they do it at all. They didn't advertise the show.
Well, no, there was some good build up to it as far as like the. I remember like there were trailers. There was hype. They wanted
not anywhere where a mass audience that would have caught on to it were. I was looking for this show and I couldn't find most of the stuff. That's just not what Netflix does. They don't need to. They fail. But like I said, anything that was outside of the MCU, it just wasn't,
other than
top
maybe
priority for those.
Other than maybe like X-Men, and even that's like that kind of.
Yeah, but that had 14, 15 years of.
Well, that also kind of peaked with the Days of Future Past, which is the year before this.
Well, it was also a movie. Shows don't get the exposure that movies do. Yeah, this is like off of Goodfellas where all those bodies start showing up here. Timestamp for those of you who are watching along is 49:12.
The other thing too, with this training scene he does here, you talked about the ninja-ness of Daredevil, but the other big theme with Daredevil, I've always kind of like associated like 3 kind of like big thematic elements with him. Like one of them is very much the ninja, a very very side of Daredevil, which is very very core to his identity. And then there's the Catholic, the Catholicism in Daredevil, that's also very prominent. And then there's also, because of his history with his father, there's also the boxing theme to it, and that's you definitely get that in this training scene. But that's the show definitely had also make sure to also bring in the boxingness, if that's a word too. Another thing too, also the ninja-ness of it, and William, I think you definitely speak to this, is that because the hand doesn't really come so much into play until season 2, but the thing about one way that Daredevil is like really influential comics wise outside of Marvel is that Daredevil is also kind of formed a lot of the Daredevil pretty heavily inspired the Ninja Turtles in a lot of ways, because the Foot Clan is based on the hand, Splinter is based on Stick. And it's, of course, you got the ninja-ness of that. So Daredevil was a pretty big influence on Ninja Turtles. For anybody who's maybe not aware of that kind of that history they have.
All right, guys, we are going to skip the we're going to go right into the next episode here. I'm going to skip the credits and we're going to go right into episode 2. Episode 2 is cut, man. And let me get us geared up because I'm going to have a commercial leading into it. Yep.
No intermission, huh?
No, not this late at night.
We'll do an intermission. We're doing like a marathon of like
Yeah.
2 or more movies. But
Well, shit, this is almost like one movie each episode.
Yeah,
Well-
but I wouldn't do an intermission in the middle of a movie though.
well, but between them, I mean, each 2 episodes between them were like an hour and a half.
Just about under 2 hours.
Raz being cheeky there, so
All right, here we
the
go.
thing I said about like the
right.
Netflix can, are you saying that? Are you saying that Netflix can like
Yeah,
a
he's
major comic book
bringing up
studio?
a band unrelated topic to this.
I
right.
can
Are we ready?
do passive aggressive like nobody
No,
says.
listen, for you newbies that have not been on this 10-year journey with us, try to just do what Brad cannot do right now, which is focus on Daredevil. All right, we are at.
Listen, I truly cannot promise I'm not going to reference something that William told me not to reference when we get to the climactic fight scene.
Just don't let it dominate the moment. Here we go. All right, guys, here we go. We are starting episode 2, Cutman. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and play.
All right. Come on, play. Ninja Pizza. That's not really what Ninja Turtles took from Daredevil, but it's a cool idea. I would catch Owlsley and tie him up. Scratch. Oh yeah, I know what you're referencing there. The whole thing. If Ace Ventura could catch that guy. For those of you who don't know, Bomb Gunton was also in Ace Ventura or Nature Calls.
Okay, if we ain't talking to Ray, we sure as all fuck aren't talking Ace Ventura while I'm watching anything quality.
I didn't put it in the comments, man. They did.
There you go, Brad. Learn how to deflect.
Well, I didn't. I mean, it's all their fault. It's all the commenters' fault. All of it.
Well, you accuse me of being able to deflect everything.
Well, yeah, but that's just factual.
No, it's you don't believe I'm telling the truth.
I mean, okay, it's that might be true.
The only time I don't tell the truth is about William, and it's usually in chat to get a funny haha.
I mean, that's to be expected.
So, William, I know like Daredevil jumps off of buildings and stuff, but how does he know? How does he do that?
Echolocation. You talking about how does he do it without killing himself, or how does he?
Yeah, because gravity kind of works all the time. Even with echolocation, you still have to have wings.
Well, no. If you go and look at like some of the ancient ninja stuff, they can do that. They can literally crawl walls. They can jump. They can do a lot of things. Once you remove the mental aspect of it, your body can do things that normal things can do. Like I said, he can he literally can bounce off a wall one zigzag. He's basically
Well, yeah,
think of the best gymnast. Think of the best gymnast you ever saw or ever existed. He's right there.
one he talking about like the echolocation side of it, because again, his with the radar sense, even though he is technically blind, he still can, because he can hear everything around him to a superhuman degree. He can map out, like he can map out like the entire city for miles. So I mean, he can map out his trajectory. When he takes a jump, he knows. And he's got the sense of touch on his side too, to like really to guide him from rooftop to rooftop. So he's
So
got like everything at his
so
disposal.
with that, so with echolocation, does he click?
Nah, his body emits signals like a bat, but he doesn't need to use sound. His body, his mind just emits those signals. So it's kind of like the bat would do it with their squealing. He does it based on his powers alone. He doesn't have to introduce any sound for him to be able to echolocate.
By the way,
Yeah, there's actually humans who in the real world who echolocate from being blind, and they click all the time, and they use the click to make the echolocation work.
Yeah, that's kind of like The Last of Us. Those zombies there. That's how the clickers actually are able to, when their heads split open and they no longer have eyes. That's how they find their prey.
Never back, Isaiah. Step back for a second.
Children and alcohol.
All right, random timestamp for you guys. I am for you watching later. I am at 7 minutes and 6 seconds. Matt is putting stitches into his dad's head. All right, I am at a commercial, so go ahead and pause if you're keeping up with us. While we're at the intermission, for those of you who are watching on Twitter right now, please come over to, let me go ahead and youtube.com/ at the Sci-Fi Center. There you go. I'm still in a commercial break.
What are they selling you?
Chick-fil-A.
Boy, they know their audience.
Kind of hungry. All right, we are back, and let's go ahead and restart it at 8:58. So in 3, 2, 1, play. Wow.
Tension pneumothorax is what that's called.
They teach us how to do this in the Army. Part of the combat lifesavers course. Sucking chest wound. Oof. Yep.
Yeah, tension pneumothoraxes are no fun.
And you're supposed to turn them on his side or their side. What's going on, Slipknot?
Yeah, dogs see the world through their nose.
Can I get a timestamp?
Yes, we are at. Oh, hold on. We are at 2045.
Right. Aaron just asked, "Hey William, are the sales of Daredevil pretty good for you at the shop, or are you expecting sales to go up when Reborn comes out?"
A little bit, but they're pretty solid now. They're not spectacular, but they're solid. Daredevil's always been a solid book since the 80s. But I do expect some type of uptick.
This is also very true to Daredevil's comic backstory that he,
Battle
his
in Jack
father,
Murdoch.
his father had, was blackmailed into throwing a fight.
I am at a commercial right now, so everybody pause.
Right. But then he didn't throw the fight. Is the thing he ended up not?
Nah, he didn't throw the fight, and I mean I'm not spoiling it. Well, I guess I'm kind of. Well, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna let you guys see it.
Okay.
Because, like I said, I keep having to remind myself that a lot of you have not seen this show, and I don't want to,
Hashtag William the spoiler.
Oh, it's William the spoiler now, huh?
No, I stopped myself.
I mean, when you're talking about like characters' origin story, at what point does it become a spoiler?
When somebody is watching this for the very first time who's not familiar with Daredevil, you got a lot of people that are following our channel that will just trust us what we're watching because we're watching it. So I don't want to,
But don't worry, Brad. We will always blame you.
Oh, I'm well aware. People could blame me for the weather. They'd probably find a way. And so, while we're waiting for the Williams commercial wrap up, we're also about a half, about 28 minutes away from the fight scene that definitely. I would go say as far as to say like the one shot fight at the end of this episode. Definitely, this was what made Daredevil made the show popular.
All right, we are at 22:15.
Oh, by the way, here's
22:15. 3, 2, 1, play.
Well, this is Rosario Dawson's Claire Temple. She is in all the Marvel Netflix shows, like all the first seasons, both seasons of season 1, season 2 of Daredevil, and Defender. She was the through line through like all of like the initial wave of Marvel Netflix.
Sorry to bother you so late, man. My name is Detective Foster with the 65th Precinct. We had a bit of a
She
disturbance.
interacts.
All right, I hear somebody else's.
Anything unusual?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
it's
sorry.
This is a cool use of his super hearing. Yeah, so track him going down the stairs to drop a fire extinguisher on his head.
That's got a sting.
Yeah, it's a really, really hyped up one. Like I said, a bat requires sounds. Daredevil can use the ambient sound around him. It's just his powers. He can just sense it. It's just kind of cool.
This show is very quiet.
It gets louder.
Oh yeah, especially at the end of this episode. By the way, you may notice somebody missing in these first two episodes. A fellow by the name of Wilson Fisk, and they actually hold off on him.
Yeah, you hear him, but you don't see him.
They hold off on him a lot more than I was expecting them to when the first show first started, and that's I think it's the next episode when he finally comes in, and even then he's only at the very end, and it's the fourth episode where he like prominently comes into play.
They write him like that a lot when they're putting him in schemes and stuff where there's a low level things going on and you don't know who the boss is, and then ultimately ends up being the Kingpin. That's actually a quote from Daredevil, I remember.
Wilson, don't call him Iron Fisk. Not sure I understand.
This show kind of captures what Daredevil the comic does, is that these guys are really they really see the best in these people, even though that everybody else has written them off because of where they come from and where they live.
Yeah. Rosario Dawson, she would go on from being the through line of Marvel Netflix. She would go on to play Ahsoka Tano. So
Yeah, and I don't want to see her back in this universe. I love this character for what it was. I don't want to see her back.
I don't think it's her like make or break with like her as far as like returning. I'm kind of like, it's like if she comes back, that's cool. If she doesn't, that's also cool. She serves her purpose, which was to be like I said, she was the through line through all the Marvel Netflix characters. She, other than I think Punisher was the only one she didn't run. Did Punisher have her on? I don't think she was on.
I don't
Punisher.
remember her being on Punisher.
Yeah,
I just remember her being a through line to, like I said, a lot of clutter.
We are so gonna do that Defenders watch party one of these days, guys. I'm gonna make William do it.
I watched it. It wasn't, the show wasn't horrible. It just wasn't necessary. Like I said, I hope that Disney, Marvel Studios cuts the fat, at least for the first 2 years of this iteration of it. Maybe 3. And Hell's Kitchen is as much a part of the Daredevil mythology as Gotham always should be. When you're doing Batman right, Gotham is a character, and when from Frank Miller on, Hell's Kitchen is a actor in the saga.
Well, and they that's one way that they did. I don't know if I call it a retcon, but it's maybe more like an update is the way to put it. It's like with the portrayal of Hell's Kitchen, because it's a reason why it's called Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, it's a fucking ghetto, and like I said, it's where everybody goes to be given up on.
But it's better now. It's been it's not the hellhole that it used to be, but
no, it's gotten better. But here's the thing about that, and it was cool. But what was cool about Daredevil, and what I think that's why, like, certain people will read certain type of comics and then others will read Daredevil, is because he's their hero in this slum, this ghetto where you're just forgotten and cast out. This guy is your hero. He's there for you. He's there for that hood, and it was always good. And when you write him that way, that's where the character is at its best. And I think this show really did it.
Well, like the update they provide, and this is like the kind of connectivity they created with the MCU is the whole part about like it got Hell's Kitchen in particular took a lot of damage during, as they refer to it as, the incident, in the Avengers. So and that sets up Will Safis coming in as like the benefactor to rebuild Hell's Kitchen. So that's the way they kind of update Hell's Kitchen for modern times, where it's like, okay, now it's.
By the way,
go ahead,
guys. I'm going to start, and I realize I really need to do this now. Is I need to start putting in links to the reading material. Like right now, you're about to see something from Daredevil, Man Without Fear. It's a miniseries that Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. did that covers this exact moment that's about to happen now. In fact, it actually covers these first 2 episodes. At least the part with his dad. And that's literally right from that miniseries I'm talking about. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can. I'm going to put it into the chat right now. Oh, all right. Pause, everybody. I am at a commercial.
Right.
While we're going through that, I'm going to bring up that.
Did you watch that thing I put in private chat?
Oh, the comedy sketch? No, I haven't had a chance to watch that yet.
Well, now's a good time.
Oh, we only got like probably what's like a 90-second pause we got here, so it's like.
All right, so I am putting the link, the actual Marvel Comics link to the story, right into the chat for you guys.
It's not very long, Brad.
Here you go.
It's like 6 minutes long. We're not gonna have a 6
So
minute
if you guys, brand new people, who will be watching this later on at any given time, if you're aware of Daredevil but you haven't read a lot of the stuff, what I just put in the chat for you, and I'll put it in the descriptions. I'm going to put all the stuff in the descriptions going forward. We'll have plenty of time. This is a series that really goes into depth what you're about to see, and it's written by Frank Miller and drawn by John Romita. It's called the Daredevil, the Man Without Fear, and it covers all of this. It came out in 1993, and it's a 5-issue miniseries. It's really good.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so we're back, and all right, so at we're at 35 minutes and 40 seconds, 44 seconds, and we will resume in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and resume. Foggy's knocking on Matt's door.
If you're lying to me, trust that I will know and I'll be unhappy. That's a good threat. Yes, human traffickers. It's like just go to town on these guys when they're bad guys. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Do you see Marvel Disney doing a Luke Cage? So like, are you asking here? Like, do we foresee? Yeah, I think William and I kind of part ways a little bit on that. It's like I'm expecting we're going to get news about the other Marvel Netflix characters between now and Comic-Con. But I don't know, Williams. I think he's thinking like, they may come back, but definitely not in the immediate future.
Yeah, it's not necessary. This isn't the Netflix universe. This is the MCU now. They don't need those characters right away at all. They don't need them at all in that context. Not for Daredevil.
Yeah, this is where we part ways. I'm telling you, it's like, oh man, I hope we get that.
Because if you trust me, like I said, Daredevil is better when the circle is tightened, not with clutter.
Oh, by the way, I'm sure this guy's gonna be totally okay here. Actually, that's a very interesting question. It's like, why do you think Daredevil like never gets like kind of wrapped up in the whole like never the whole no kill rule kind of debate?
Because his character has been defined by Frank Miller.
Well, that also, yeah. But yeah, I mean, you could kind of also say Batman has Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, but Batman, he got to Daredevil at a different time than he got to Batman. Batman was an established, you were still fighting the Adam West version.
Yeah, I'm sure that guy's okay. Yeah, you landed in the dumpster. You pulled him. I'm sure that 3-story drop was fine with a dumpster underneath of him. He'll live. Well, I mean, he can zero in with his super hearing, so he can make that diagnosis at least.
He could hear his heartbeat. He's alive. And Daredevil really doesn't kill. Daredevil. There's a line, and when you hear that in Born Again, that line, that's a line that he does pronounce.
Well, and also it's like, I mean, that's also kind of that's steeped in his Catholicism too.
Yeah.
So there's also that side of him. That's but yeah, that's why I've always wondered, like, why do some superheroes kind of get wrapped up in the whole like no kill policy when others don't?
Because one of them is a flagship character that the entire universe knows, and the other one is Daredevil. There's just different standards.
What's the superhero? You're talking about like the one that with like all the Marvel Netflix heroes? Yeah, that's called Defenders. The one with like all the that Daredevil, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica, the one that they crossed over into is called. And by the way, actually, that wasn't the original line above Defenders. William, maybe you can help me out here. When it started out, Defenders consisted of Doctor Strange,
Moon Dragon, the
Hulk, Silver Surfer, and who else? There's one I think I'm forgetting.
Interloper.
Oh yeah. But I mean now Daredevil, Iron Fist, and Luke Cage, they have all been on the Defenders at various points. Jessica Jones, and this is like all
right, I am at a commercial. All right, so the Defenders, and here's why I don't need them in my shows, is because they are a loose knit. They're not really even a group. They're a loose knit group that was like not like the FF, not like the Avengers. They came together occasionally, and they're not Daredevil centric. They don't go together. They don't go together. Their stories don't go together. Even if you like Defenders, that's fine. But if they did do it, those characters need to be far away from Daredevil. They need to be closer to the Avengers and Spider-Man and all that than they are Daredevil. They are not Daredevil characters. They don't do well. I think they weigh the story down, and there's just not enough time to tell that much story.
Yeah, so I hope with all this, they're not that close. I mean, William. I mean, I would at one point of one bit of counter evidence is that it was specifically with the relationship of Daredevil and Iron Fist, is Iron Fist did actually pose as Daredevil during Civil War, so the two of them specifically have a
they know each other, but not in the. They aren't as tight as they are depicted in these shows. There's this Netflix universe thing. It's Daredevil for me. It's Daredevil and some other people that I don't need to be in Daredevil. If you want to take those characters and adapt them to the MCU, that's fine. Just keep them away from Daredevil. Daredevil, like I said, the appeal to Daredevil is his solitary nature and a tight, close, amount of people. Okay, all right. We are at. We're going back in. We are at 43 minutes 22 seconds. Jack Murdock is walking in the robe that he got. So we're going to resume for those of you who were watching at a decent hour. 40, let's see, 42, 22, count of 3, 3, 2, 1, resume.
Go. Yes. Yes, thou shalt. Yeah. Again, Daredevil's Catholicism. He does, that definitely plays into his no-kill policy. But I do feel like they also the fact they make that what his whole like internal conflict in season 3 of like whether or not he's doing more harm than good by letting Fisk live. I did like they still play with that the idea that him.
Well, also he's a lawyer because you don't really even know he's a Catholic until way, way, way later in his. In fact, I don't even think if I'm correct, somebody can correct me in the chat. I don't even think he's identified as a Catholic until Born Again when he meets his mother.
No, it was Frank Miller who specifically introduced. And
it was in 232. It was during his second run. It was during his second run on the comic, not even the first run. He's a lawyer and he believes in the law. Even though he's doing what he's doing, he believes in the law. He does not want to be the judge, jury, and executioner. And this scene right here is
yes, it would. Yeah, Heroes for Hire is kind of a detective agency that
and the White Knights
the couple of them fall, and that's another group that Luke Cage and Iron Fist and Colleen Wing are affiliated with. That's really more so in Defenders. It's it's kind of like the main team that Luke Cage and Iron Fist are a part of in the comics. Like William was right. I mean, Defenders, they are a little bit more of like a loosely knit. They're characters who know each other, and they occasionally kind of come together for like joint missions.
When you read the comic, by the way, the one I put into the chat and the one I'll put in the description going forward, they actually show it. They actually show him not throwing the fight, and they show him getting beat up in the alley, and they show him the guy sticks the gun right into his mouth.
Yep.
And it was.
Yeah,
it hits as hard here as it does there, but like I said, it's much more brutal in the comic.
Yeah, I mean, this is some that was some dark material, that they brought, and that's what Frank Miller was known for. I mean, he was pushing the envelope.
Yeah, he's why we get stuff like this. He's why you get the Dark Knight. He's why you get licensed to do violence and dark.
Daredevil has been a part of Defenders. He's been a part of. He's actually been a part of the Hand at various points. He's also part of a ninja group called the Chased. With the Chased are basically they're kind of like the rivals. They're the the quote unquote good ninjas.
Sporadically though.
Yeah,
sporadically.
Well, yeah, he's very tangential in his relationship with.
Usually it's a story or two, and that's about it.
But there have been stories where he has at varying points also been the leader of the Hand. I believe he's also been affiliated with New Avengers at a couple of
we don't want to listen. No,
I didn't say it was a good run. I just said it happened.
That was not a good time for a comic book, by the way. That was in the late 2000s. That's when Spider-Man became an Avenger. Wolverine was an Avenger. It was right after Secret Invasion, where they really could have followed up that story with something good, and they did not.
This is not me defending Defenders.
Okay. Guys that are watching this, Daredevil is solo. Yes, he has been in other shit. He is at his best. The nature of the character is him. He is the sole hero in which you're watching, and the support network around him that are not superheroes, and that's it.
Well, we talk about the solo act, that we are coming up on the ultimate solo act here, which is, I mean, I remember this was just everywhere when this show dropped.
This one's my second favorite behind the one that would happen with the chain. This one is
But this set the stage for like the action we could expect from the show. And I mean, it made the one shot. This is I think this is actually when one shot action scenes were like really becoming like the trend that they are now around this time. And this like
they were overseas. Yeah, American. This was probably one of the first American ones that I saw that was filmed that way, film or television. So it was revolutionary for 2015.
Yeah, and again, it's become a staple of the show. I fully expect there to be one big one in Born Again, and yeah, they've talked about a lot of people have pointed to Old Boy as being kind of an influence on this, and you can definitely see like the visual style. You see that. There was also another influence on it. I can't quite put my finger. I'm gonna say it was Marantau.
Focus on what we're watching.
It was Marantau. It was an Indonesian martial arts.
We have brand new people. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
All right, I can't focus on you. You got
I've
shit
seen
flying out of doors right now.
I have seen this fight scene so many times. This fight scene, I love this fight scene to death.
Like I said, not as good as the other one, but it's still that's a high bar, by the way.
That's the thing about the one shot fight scenes is they just build upon. I mean, this is the foundation, and it's all of them are built on the shoulders of this, going forward.
Yeah, when he's going up and down those stairs, just beating the hell out of fools, it's like.
Well,
wow.
He's also in his prime at that point because he's fighting
true,
wounded here.
He's still.
He's got a cracked ribs here. He's got a stab wound, so he's
he shouldn't be doing this well.
Yeah. Oh, and the fact that that's the other thing about it too, with it being being a ninja fight, because I mean, with what he's going through, I mean, he's writhing in pain every time he punches one of these guys. So you can imagine what he might try to kick them. So
if you were to slightly strain one of your rib muscles, just a slight strain,
it's very painful. You cannot move.
Yeah,
you can't move your big toe without it hurting.
So that explains why there are comparatively few Daredevil spinning kicks and flips in this fight scene. Because
also as a ninja, he has made the conscious decision, because if he were to use the weapons of a ninja, this fight would have been over already.
Yeah. Well, he's also, he's trying to minimize the attention being drawn to him too.
Yeah.
And if you hit someone hard enough to knock them out, they're in really, really bad trouble.
Yeah, because at that concussion, you can actually end up with a brain bleed. And he hits people really hard in this movie.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
If you hit someone really hard like that and they get knocked out, 9 times out of 10, they're probably dead.
Yeah. Yeah, your brain was not really meant to take that kind of bare knuckle to the head.
I've been knocked out.
It's not funny, but it's just the body is meant to take what it can take.
I've been knocked out. It's happened. I've seen people get knocked out.
How long have you been knocked out?
Oh, it's like a 5-second, kind of thing.
Yeah, these guys are down and out for like
10 minutes at least.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Well, also the fact that he's he's got the rope or the hemp or whatever that's wrapped around his fists too. That just adds so much more to just the pain of every punch he throws. But yeah, this fight scene, this kind of defined the show in a lot of ways when it dropped, because it was all over. It was what people were talking about.
Well, it's a pretty good fight scene because it left a lot to the imagination.
Yeah, when he goes into those closed off areas and people just come flying out of it.
And there's like the stove for the little.
Yeah, the stove was fucking hilarious. I remember seeing that for the first time. All right, guys, that is it. That is Daredevil season 1 of the Netflix version. Like I said, as somebody who has grown up with Daredevil, I've been collecting for a really long time, and Daredevil and Frank Miller to me are synonymous. I think this show works because of Frank Miller.
Yeah, I agree.
Frank Miller, this version of Daredevil that you're seeing in here did not exist prior to Daredevil 158. Daredevil was a standard superhero type. Yeah, it was darker and grittier, noir type of stuff, but it was not like it would be once Frank Miller got a hold of it. And the thing about it is, Daredevil, in my opinion, was always, prior to 158, was the superhero. His distinction in that he was blind and he lived in a really bad. He wasn't in the Upper East Side of Manhattan like that. Once Frank Miller took over, that sentence where he says, "I'm not just doing this because I'm doing this because I enjoy it." There is a sadistic part of Matthew Murdock that enjoys inflicting pain. when he beats the shit out of Bullseye after he kills Elektra, he beats him to the point where he almost kills him.
He beats him with an inch of his life. Yeah.
And then they're fighting. I don't know how the fuck they were doing it. They're fighting on like a wire, right? And obviously, Bullseye can't keep his balance. He falls because he's bludgeoned, and he hangs on. And then Daredevil tacitly reaches his hands down there to grab him, and then just lets him fall because he knew it wasn't going to kill him. He visits this superhero, visits a pretty much in from head to toe in traction Bullseye, laying up in the hospital. He can't move. He can't do anything. And he goes in there with a revolver and puts a bullet in there. And he sits next to Bullseye's bed and he spins it and starts shooting at him because he knows which
he
round.
Can play Russian. He can control this game of Russian roulette.
Yeah, because he knows where the round is because he can hear it. Even though he's spinning it, his senses allow him to. But Bullseye doesn't know this. Bullseye thinks this fucking crazy guy's gonna put one right in my skull, and Frank Miller I know I keep repeating Frank Miller's influence on comics a lot. Him and Chris Claremont to me are the two most influential comic book writers to ever play the game, in my opinion.
No doubt.
I mean, they were the permission slip that allowed you to be violent. People ask me, well, why do I think the X-Men cartoon is soft core bullshit? Because Christopher Claremont gave you the permission not to be that way. He gave you your 12 and 14, 15-year-old could go listen and watch and read the brutality and the violence that he was putting in X-Men. Same thing with Frank Miller. You weren't telling these stories other than those characters. And now you have this show. Like I said, I can't imagine the show existing without Daredevil's or Frank Miller's run on Daredevil. And this show, kudos to this show. They captured almost everything. When you read that comic that I put in there, for those of you who have not read it yet, when you read it, you remember what you saw here while you were watching the show, it clicks. They knew their assignment. I don't even need to ask the people who made this show, did Frank Miller's Daredevil influence? That question can go unasked because I know. And it's really hard. There's two people's work where it's really hard to do. Alan, what's his face? Why can't I remember his name?
Alan Moore.
Alan Moore. I can say his name 1,000 times. I'm brain farting because it's late. Alan Moore and Frank Miller. It's really, you can do their stuff, but it's really hard to capture the essence. And this show did it. Like I said, once they started adding people into it, then it got Frank Millerized. That's why we're not watching Defenders as it relates to this show. We can watch it way down the line, but as it relates to the show, it's one of the few knocks that I have about this whole universe. It's not the Arrowverse where you can just put in a bunch of B's and C's and it doesn't, and maybe it helps, or then maybe it doesn't. But the way the character that Frank Miller created does not mess with any of that. And so, but overall, this show is amazing, and I'm glad. I think it's unanimous from the people who have watched this show that it's a good decision. It's a good decision that that Kevin Feige, give him credit. Some hard asses would say, no, it's not mine. I didn't do it. We're not doing it. And Kevin Feige was that guy for a while. But like I said, he has evolved. And so now we have this. So we're going to, I will schedule the other episodes and we'll get them through. And like I said, each one I'll start having reading material as we start reaching certain points in the storyline where certain characters become more relevant than others. Obviously, the Kingpin will have some reading. Every one of these watch parties is literally, for me, going to be a commercial for the comic. If you are not reading in comics right now and you are watching this show with the comic book geek in front of you, please let this be your start. If you like I said, I know the majority of you guys who watch these shows and watch these movies are not reading source material, and that's okay. I'm glad you're here. I don't care how you came into the mansion, as long as you end up at the big dinner table. But while you're here, pick up a comic, man.
Yeah, sounds good.
Pick up a comic. I think it will
Definitely.
enhance these shows. If you watch these shows and you've never picked up the comic, it will enhance it just the way the shows enhance the comics. So you get two sides of the equations. All right.
Especially when we get to season 3, because then I mean, the plug for that is obvious.
Yeah.
Combo wise, it's Daredevil
Yeah.
Born again.
Count me in, as I've never seen this series before.
Really? Okay.
You're in the majority. I'm finding, you're
is
in the majority.
So crazy to me. It's like that because
But you have to understand, though, you are particular. The rest of the world's not going to be. Once again, we had people who would, if they were wearing their MCU goggles, and if it wasn't directly connected and you didn't see everything, they didn't hate it or nothing. They just didn't give it the time of day. And now it's being let in, and now that those same people watch this fool catch the brick. So now he's in their world. So
Yes.
there you go.
They know now he is indeed a really good lawyer.
All right, fun fact: some real blind people have used noise. Just like Clint brought this up before. There's a guy I was watching on this William Shatner show, Strange Occurrences, or whatever. This dude can paint he can paint because he's using field touch and he's using echolocation to. It's weird. Listen, Daredevil, he had some chemicals into him, so he's on a different level. Those guys are just human. But Daredevil literally has it within his power. So, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this watch along. Please subscribe. Tomorrow, Saturday, I am going to be at the store all day Saturday. I don't know if we're doing a watch party during the afternoon.
Football tomorrow.
Yeah, because I'm going to be watching football, and then Sunday I'm watching football and wrestling. I need to get with Larry and see when he wants to do the David Lynch stuff. Probably going to be on Sunday, but like I said, the better games are happening tomorrow, by the way. So for those of you, the people that are going to Super Bowl or are playing tomorrow, whoever.
So either next Saturday or the Super Bowl Saturday for Excalibur.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Cool. All right, guys. Thank you guys for being here. I know it's really, difficult for some people to watch us live because I'm an owl. But for the rest of you who are watching during the decent hours, please subscribe. Come over if you're watching this on Twitter. Watching the rewatch for a while there. The YouTube link is there, youtube.com/@Sci-Fi Center, or just go into the search engine. Just Google the Sci-Fi Center. If you reach my page, you reached our channel. So it's that easy. Okay, we will see you at some point tomorrow, at least for the Saturday Overnight Live show. We had a lot to talk about. That might be one of the longer shows if I'm in a good mood. These last couple of shows, I've been really tired. I've been dealing with some stuff here in Vegas.
It's basically just like our list too of like what we're looking forward to this year. Well,
yeah. So tomorrow we're probably going to be returning to the normal Saturday Overnight Live. All right, guys. See you actually later on today.
Later, guys.